This is the Patriots Drive Podcast.
We are all Patriots.
Where we discuss, analyze, and answer questions to all things happening in the NFL and with our New England Patriots. Now, here's your host, Cole Kelly.
Welcome into another edition of the Patriots Drive Podcast. Patriots take on the New York Jets, division rival, 1-0 against them this year, one of our 2 wins on the season. Sunday at 1 o'clock at Gillette. Patriots look to win their first home game of the year, which is sad to say. 4 home games in, 0-4 so far. That's not usual for the Patriots, but it's gonna be a fun game this weekend. Hopefully they can set their home record to 1-4 and get the crowd rolling this weekend at Gillette. But I'm here with my co-host, Jace Campbell. How's it going, Jace?
It's going good. I'm nervous about home games. I used to like home games, but now I don't like them.
We can only win on the road now. 2-0 on the road.
Let's just relocate all of our games.
Exactly. Everything will be on the road games. Then. Perfect.
No, I'm excited. I think that I was thinking about this today when I was working out, things that go through your head, but I was thinking, what a better time there. I don't think there could be a better time to have a Jets game on the schedule, especially with it being at home, coming off of a tough loss to a good team, 2-4, the team knows we need to bounce back. I think that it's very well placed, and this is going to be a game that, our team can use to motivate and have a stepping stone build off of the outcome, hopefully, and kind of get on a roll, because we do have to start getting on a roll at some point now, sooner rather than later. So I think it's a good time, and it's, it's going to be good to see how we bounce back, especially after these, last 3 losses that we've had at home and, ones that we could have won.
Yeah, for sure. It's a great opportunity for the team to bounce back, rebound after a couple tough losses to the Dallas Cowboys in overtime, the game against the Bucs, the comeback win against the Texans. It's been a interesting couple three weeks for the Pats. They've had some unlucky moments. Games come down to the wire, all 3 of them. So great opportunity for them to kind of get things flowing again against a Jets team that's kind of struggling. They played good a couple weeks ago against the Titans, which that's kind of looks like a fluke game at this point, but you never know. Division games are always closer than they seem like they should be. So it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a good opportunity for these guys to really bounce back. Even if we are missing a couple pieces, this offensive line now is going to be, looks like Michael Onwenu is kind of moved to right tackle temporarily until Trent Brown's back. So looking for this offensive line to continue to kind of improve in the run game, and then hopefully start to build some chemistry in the passing game and keep Mack off his back for the entire game, which is one thing this Jets defense kind of fed off last game we played them. They really stopped us in the run game for the most part, and in the passing game they kept getting to Mack, kept putting pressure on the quarterback. So it's going to be a fun one this weekend.
Yeah, I kind of like the move to Michael Onwenu at right guard. We've been shuffling a lot of guys there. He played a great right tackle last season as a rookie. So moving him there, I think Ted Karras is experienced enough to stay at the right guard position. He played in 53 offensive snaps last week and only gave up 1 pressure. It was a hurry. It wasn't even a sack. And so I think that Ted Karras is a very capable right guard, and I think it's one of the best moves that we could do as of right now, while Trent Brown's still on IR. So hopefully we see a more sturdy offensive line and a regular rotation until Trent Brown gets back. But I'm excited to see how Michael Onwenu does there. And then it's going to be interesting to see what happens at left tackle too, because Isaiah Wynn started struggling last week. He did not look very good. He was in a very limited amount of reps. I think it was only 9, and he gave up a couple pressures there, hurries, quarterback hits and stuff. So that's not good, especially with his injury history. And, just the time that he's had in New England hasn't been very good. So it will be interesting to see how this offensive line plays.
Yeah, for sure. And I agree with Gabe here. Step 1, get Jonnu involved. This is a perfect game, like we were just talking about. We've had Pats players talking about the past couple of weeks how Jonnu's breakout game is coming. There's no better opportunity to get him rolling and get him involved than against a Jets team like this. Their defense honestly isn't bad, but if your defense is taking advantage of opportunities that Zach Wilson's given you, if he does that again this game, then getting Jonnu involved, he's a playmaker. He's barely been involved. His snap count has been going down pretty much consistently ever since that first game. It seems like whenever they're in 11 personnel, Hunter Henry's the tight end out there. Whenever they're in 12, they're both out there, obviously, for passing and running downs. But he's couple weeks ago, he hardly ran any passing routes at all. He had under 10. I think it was 7 or something like that. I mean, for a guy you signed first in free agency, 4-year deal for like $50 million, he's got to get more involved. He can do a lot of different things. I don't know if it's with the playbook. If I don't really know what's going on, but this is going to be a great opportunity for him to get involved. And if not now, then when? How long are you going to wait to unleash this guy who's seems like he has all the talent in the world? He's had a couple rough games, but he's talented and he can help this team win football games.
Yeah, he needs to get involved too. Continue to get Hunter Henry involved, but work the middle of the fields, quick little short passes to Jonnu Smith. I like that. The thing that's concerning about Jonnu Smith, and you mentioned it last episode, is that he's just not getting that chance to run routes. He's been very limited on the amount of even pass routes he's been running. So he's been in strictly for pass blocking, run blocking, and then, either short little routes here and there, but we're not getting him the ball. So I'd like to see his target share go up and his routes run. I mean, even if he's not catching the ball, he's a threat at all times. People have to account for where he is, how fast he is, his speed. So yeah, I want to see him get more involved and see, the second half of the 2 tight ends that we signed really get going like we've seen Hunter Henry the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. So I mean, getting those guys going, building the offensive line chemistry, defense continue to build off what they've done kind of the past couple weeks. I know last week didn't look as good as we really thought it was, because I just think that they were gassed. They were on the field so much, like we kind of talked about. So a good week for them to keep working on things, keep building chemistry. I mean, honestly, that's what this team is right now. We're just it's a team for the future. It's not a win right now necessarily, even though it could be. I mean, if they really step it up and start building chemistry fast, this team could be a team that could compete right now. But in general, right now, just seeing progress and seeing this team continue to build chemistry on the defense side of the ball and the offensive side of the ball, and just build to hopefully go into a wild card spot this year and make some noise, and then next year kind of compete for a deeper playoff run. So it's all about experience for these guys and building chemistry. So we got none of these guys we signed on 1-year deals. So all these new pieces, they're going to have some time to do it, but hopefully they get it together sooner rather than later, and we can watch an entertaining season this year, and hopefully they can make some noise in the playoffs.
Yeah, and last time we played the Jets, Jonnu Smith had 4 receptions for 28 yards. He caught a 19-yard pass. That's on 5 targets. So they're getting him out against the Jets. The Jets are a little susceptible to having tight ends get out on their safeties, on their linebackers. So I expect them to get him more involved. And if the players are talking about it, it's got to be something that's going throughout the whole facility. They're not just going to be talking about it without hearing it from a coach or Mac Jones or someone else. So I'm excited to get Jonnu Smith involved. I think that he adds a whole nother element to this offense that hasn't yet been unlocked because we haven't been targeting him. He hasn't been catching it. He hasn't had success. So I agree with Gabe, maybe not number 1, but I think it should be up there, 1A, 1B, maybe number 2. That's got to be something that they just adding versatility to this offense with Jonnu Smith's ability.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think probably the reason we haven't seen much 12 personnel is because the offensive line has kind of been struggling, and that we can't be the football team that we wanted to be early on with how the offensive line has been playing. This team wanted to be able to run the football extremely well and put the defense at a disadvantage and create mismatches, because if we are in 12 personnel and we're running the ball down people's throats and they end up stacking the box to prevent us from getting 5, 6, 7 yards of carry, then we can just say, okay, you're going heavier in the box. We got our 2 tight ends who can run routes and can create mismatches, and we're going to pick apart your linebackers or whoever you have trying to guard them. So I think that's what this team wanted to do, and I think the lack of health and continuity at the offensive line position so far has kind of held them back from really unleashing that 12 personnel package that we all thought they'd be running 50% of the time this year. But we really haven't seen it nearly as much as expected. So hopefully kind of now another week of continuity on this offensive line, and guys coming back from COVID and starting to get back into the flow of things. Hopefully they can start to kind of increase those snaps and 12 personnel and start to be the football team they want to be, and the team that they envisioned early on in this season.
Yeah, it's got to start with the offensive line. That's what I would say is the number 1 priority to this game. Even though the Jets don't have a big name on the defensive line, or they're not, super deep there, I think that keeping Mac Jones upright, keeping him on his feet, letting him have time to take shots down the field is what's going to be the key, especially with the amount of people that we've had shuffling around, playing different positions, guys getting benched, guys getting put in. That's got to be priority number one, is keeping Mac clean on his back. I mean, he's still a rookie going into his 7th game of the season or of his career. You got to keep a clean pocket for him. And he's shown the ability to step up and make good, clean throws in a tight pocket, and he's willing to get hit and deliver the ball. But you don't want to see that happen, multiple times a game for a rookie quarterback. You want to see him stay up, get good health, or stay in good health, and be able to deliver in clean pockets. That's when you limit the mistakes. So for me, number one, keeping a clean pocket. And I don't know if we've seen a truly clean pocket all year. Last week against Dallas, I think might have been the best I can remember. But still, Randy Gregory got in a couple times, lit him up. There hasn't been a true clean game. I'm hoping that this is, the week that it finally happens.
Yeah, and I mean, if it is the week that it finally happens, I think that's kind of good news overall, because this Jets defensive line has been creating pressure on not only us, but kind of most of the teams they've been facing. They're kind of middle of the pack total in defense this year, but their defensive line and linebacker situation is kind of definitely one of their strengths. CJ Mosley's a beast. Quinn Williams, they got a bunch of guys on the defensive line that can create some havoc. So holding up against these guys and giving Mac a clean pocket is going to be huge. I mean, anytime he has a clean pocket, we see good things. I mean, he's picking apart defenses, really reading the routes correctly and doing what he's supposed to do with the football, getting it out. But I think a lot of the pressure would be taken off Mac if he knows, hey, I don't have to get the ball out in 2 seconds exactly. I don't have to get it out in 1.5 seconds. I have time to sit back there for a second, make a read, and make throws that I know I can make. And I mean, people kind of have complained early on in the season. We kind of touched on it, the lack of the deep ball in this offense this year. And it's been because he has no time. You got to have time in the pocket for these deep routes to develop and to kind of pick your shots and stuff like that. But when you got no time, and when you got to get the ball out in under 2.5 seconds every time you drop back, you can't even run a correct play action, because as soon as you fake the handoff and start looking down the field, you're already getting hit. It makes it tough and kind of limits what you can do on the offensive side of the ball. So hopefully that can kind of get cleaned up this week. And I think it'd be a big step for this, not only this offensive line in general as a group, but for this offense as a whole. Because I mean, it's a big part of the struggles they've had so far, but it looks like it has been starting to improve with kind of this offensive line group getting comfortable around each other. Ted Karras has done really good. We just talked about David Andrews has been himself. He's been really solid pretty much every game. And then Shaq Mason just came back, and Onwenu's been solid. Isaiah Wynn let up a couple pressures last week, 1 sack on 3rd down. That was big. But overall, just this group building as a whole is going to be big for this football team. Continue to be able to run the football. I think we did that pretty solid last week. Damian Harris had over 100 yards and averaged like 5.5 per carry with a touchdown. So that was good to see, and hopefully this group continues to build on that.
Yeah, Ted Karras is, he's played limited snaps, but he's played 84 passing snaps. He's only allowed 1 pressure throughout those 84 pass blocking snaps. And so, he's been solid there. We'll see what happens when he's in a full game and now he has an extended role and going against a little better competition. But yeah, I've been impressed with Ted Karras. I think that he's going to be good. It's going to add more versatility to maybe throw Michael Onwenu back at right tackle like they are going to do, and it will get his confidence back up, and he'll be playing at an elite level like he was last year. But I wanted to show this clip of the Patriots. This is one of our deep shots to Nelson Aguilar last week. So you're going to see condensed formation with Nelson Aguilar up top in the screen. And he's got a lot of room to work on the sidelines. And Mac Jones actually has time to work here. So or time to throw the ball here. So he delivers a good strike, deep ball. It's a 27-yard gain. And we have something going here. And then we all know we throw the touchdown to Jacoby Myers. It gets called back. We fumble on the next play. But I really like this play design, and you see what happens when you give Mac Jones time. He delivers a great pass. You're going to see Nelson Aguilar right here as he starts running. He's going to go in, and here goes game pass.
Oh, boy.
It was just working for me as soon as I share my screen. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, so he's going to be up top. He's going to come in, look like he's running a deep over. Then he's going to make a cut outside, and Mac Jones delivers it to him, maybe a little underthrown. He maybe could have gotten 5 more yards if he completes it on time. But there's nothing wrong with that. That's a 27-yard play, and if we don't get a holding call, we're in the end zone and we're up 21-7 just like that. So I like seeing that. Mac Jones has time to throw the ball. He can get it downfield, find the mismatches he wants one-on-one with Nelson Aguilar right there, and deliver a good, accurate pass. So, if that's what happens consistently in a game, he's going to have time to make more plays like that. And that's what I'm excited to see.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, obviously they had that one deep one to Kendrick Bourne that the safety kind of messed up what he was doing, but he had a nice double move on Diggs and created some separation, and Mac put it in there. He's made some great throws. Just he's got to have time to really analyze the field, go through his progressions, read what the defense is giving him, and make the right throw. And he's been really impressive doing that in the amount of time that he's done that. And just he's so quick at making these reads and making these decisions. It's really impressive for a rookie quarterback, like we've obviously talked about. But yeah, just I mean, continue to see these different guys build chemistry. If Mac continuously has more time back there, like I just said, he's going to make those throws, and he's not going to. I mean, if he's feeling pressure on that throw and he kind of throws it off his back foot, leaning back, he might have thrown it, stuff like that. So you never know what the reasoning is for a bad throw. But yeah, it's good to see the offense was rolling early last week. Cowboys defense isn't anything, I mean, crazy special. They haven't been locking down opposing offenses on a week by week basis by any means. But I mean, they got some playmakers on that side of the football, and it was good to see our offense really get going. The running game was great. Passing game was solid early on. And then I don't know what happened. It kind of died out midway through the game and woke up again late. But yeah, they had some nice plays drawn up. Jacoby would have got his first touchdown if not for a holding penalty. Damian Harris had a nice run play. They drew a play out for Jonnu Smith, just quick screen to him, threw it, and he got 9 yards close to the red zone. So I think we've used Jonnu a little bit in the red zone and gave him those opportunities from a screen perspective. But when you're just giving a guy a screen pass, and I don't think he had any blockers. I think it was just one-on-one. They threw like a little screen pass because they were playing off coverage, and he got 9 yards on Diggs. But I think we need to give him more opportunities we got to be more creative with him in the red zone, run different sweeps, stuff like that. He's talented. He did that a lot for the Titans in the red zone. He was a monster. So different stuff like that. And then more in the open field in general. He's not just a guy that can be used in the red zone. He's great with the ball in his hands, great after the catch. So if we can get him the ball in space and not just on quick throws, like little screen passes where he has the ball, maybe one blocker, and then the entire team's running at him. That's one thing. But if he can get the ball in space on an actual route, he's great at creating after the catch. So I do think that's a big key to unlock a different level of this offense is if he starts getting going, he starts building chemistry with Mac, and we get him involved. I mean, it's just him and Hunter Henry are just going to feed off each other. These receivers are going to get help. If these tight ends are getting open constantly and catching the ball and creating after the catch, it's going to help these receivers out, going to help this offensive line out, the running game, everything. So this offense as a whole has a whole nother level it can go to once the offensive line starts playing to its potential, and once we really start getting these tight ends to play to their full potential.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. You talked about how well our running game was. That's the one thing I was not impressed with our team last time we played the Jets is the opponent's running game. The Jets right now are averaging the second least amount of rushing yards per game, 74 rushing yards. We allowed 152 to them last time we played them. Michael Carter went for 59, Ty Johnson 50, Tevin Coleman 24, Zach Wilson had 19, on scramble yards. But I've seen some promising things in our run defense with the Cowboys last week. They shut down the Bucs pretty well. The Bucs aren't really a run first team, but they use it to get going and play action off of that. I thought that they have been good against good teams that have ran the ball. And this is something that I saw last week. This is a big time play by our second round pick, Christian Barmore. You're going to see him right at the nose here. And he's going to get crazy good knockback on the center. And then he's going to just pretty much bench press him off him and tackle Zeke for a 2-yard loss. And this is something that I think is going to help. Christian Barmore was in his second game and probably not getting many snaps when he played the Jets. But now he's, going into his seventh. He's been getting an extended role in both the passing and the rushing game. So I look for him to do more of this. You'll see right here as I start it, right? He's right on the nose tackle, going to bench press the center off of him, throws him off, and then makes a TFL. And that's a big time play right there by a first year guy, a guy that's played 6 games. Recognizing, the line slant, getting off of it and making a play. That's what we drafted him for. He's twitchy, he's strong, he's big, he's athletic. He can be a true 3-down lineman, defensive lineman in this league that's very effective. So I look for him helping us shut down that running game. They can't have 152 rushing yards again on us. That is ridiculous. They did double their total of 74 on average. They doubled that easily. So, we can't do that. We cannot allow that many points, especially with what we did to Zach Wilson the first game. He's going to have that in the back of his mind. He's going to know, like what we did and how we stopped him. And he's going to be a little timid. He's going to think he sees the boogeyman, right? Like they call us. But that's another thing, on the flip side is New England's got to get their run game going. We had 101 rushing yards against them. Damian Harris went for 62, which is good. But I look for Damian Harris to have a big day. I look for Ramondre Stevenson to have a big day and really carry this offense down the field and then let Mac or whoever else punch it in. So I'm looking for us to stop the run effectively, unlike what we did in the first game against the Jets. And I'm looking for us to continue on what we had going last week in the running game. Damian Harris running hard, being a beast, getting knocked back at the line, and then Ramondre Stevenson coming in to spell him and getting some good carries.
Yeah, and just to go back to that Barmore point real quick, that was against a great offensive line and a great running game, great running back. Zeke is a hard guy to tackle by yourself, and he made contact in the backfield, held his ground, and then Dietrich Wise went in there and helped him with the tackle as well. So he's been extremely impressive, and he's going to probably get a lot more opportunities this week than he has in the past because Devon Godchaux, which we'll get into more of the injury report, but he hasn't practiced the past 2 days with a finger injury. So we'll see if he practices tomorrow in any capacity, and then if he suits up at all this weekend. But if he's not ready to go, Barmore is going to get some serious playing time, not only on passing downs, but on in the running game as well. So I think that's, if Godchaux doesn't play, it's going to be a great opportunity for Barmore to get some valuable snaps and valuable experience in both situations. We know he's great as a pass rusher on third down, rushing in the interior. We've seen flashes from him in the run game as well, but seeing that consistently is something that he can continue to improve on in the running game, just consistently being that dominant force that he is in the pass game as well. So I think this week will be a great week for him to prove himself that he can do both of those things really well, and it's going to be a great experience for him. So I hope to continue to see his success and continue to see him jump off the screen. He's a guy that seems like a home run draft pick already as a second round pick. I can't believe he fell to us that late. He's a playmaker. He's a real impact player that I think is going to make a lot of plays for us in the next 10 seasons. So I'm excited to keep seeing how he progresses. But yeah, same thing with Ramondre Stevenson. Seeing this running game get going, he's building more confidence. I think we're building more confidence in him, his ability in the passing game we talked about last episode, and just his ability to carry the football and consistently gain 4 or 5 yards of carry is going to be something huge for him. So I think as he continues to see snaps with Damian Harris still recovering a little bit from I don't even know which injury it is. He's definitely banged up in a bunch of places. We saw him go in the medical tent a million times last game, but he's such a tough guy. He's a tough player for this football team, and I think we're lucky to have him. So seeing those guys maybe split carries, and especially if we get ahead at all in this football game, seeing Ramondre Stevenson kind of get his role expanded a little bit, it's going to be a great opportunity for him to prove things in game and say, hey, you don't have to worry about me. I'm not going to that fumble. The fumble issues early on in the season and the preseason, those are flukes, and I've made the corrections, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, well, let's get into our injury report. You hit on it. We have a lot of injuries. 13 people limited participation today. 3 of them did not practice. Of those 3, Devon Godchaux highlights a list. Jonathan Jones with an ankle injury. Sean Wade still out with his concussion. Godchaux led all interior defensive linemen with 56 of our 89 snaps played last week. And so with him not being there, you look for guys like Lawrence Guy, Carl Davis, Christian Barmore to get an extended role, like you mentioned. Jonathan Jones, surprising. I'm sure you have more on this, but he went out with a wrist injury in the Cowboys game. Now he's showing up with an ankle injury. And then of the 13 limiteds, which we'll get into, highlight some of the big ones, but you got Brandon Bolden, Shaq Mason, Dietrich Wise, Josh Uche, Christian Barmore, Dante Hightower, Kyle Van Noy, Jawan Bentley, Brandon King, Jalen Mills, Adrian Phillips, Kyle Duggar, Nick Folk. And a lot of those guys will suit up and play just normal Patriots, injury report like we see on a Wednesday, Thursday, but still some names on there that we should be taking a look at.
Yeah, and the Jonathan Jones situation, he was on the injury report last week with that ankle injury, and he was limited all week. So it seems like something that might just be nagging a little bit, and they're trying to give him some time off, get him a little bit of rest. But that's a big one, especially with the lack of depth we have at cornerback. And not that the Jets are, some crazy prolific passing offense, but they got a couple guys back that they didn't have week one. They had Corey Davis, obviously, but Jamison Crowder, he's honestly a really talented player. He's not a top tier wide receiver, but he does his thing in the slot there and different stuff like that. So Jonathan Jones would probably be on him a decent amount. And depending on Corey Davis usually lines up a little bit more on the outside. So with Jamison Crowder at the slot and him being able to make plays and make an impact, and Jonathan Jones may not be playing, I'm not really sure who we're going to have there. I mean, Sean Wade's still out with a concussion, so he's not really going to fill in. We just elevated Miles Bryant to the 53-man roster, so I don't know how much slot he plays, but it might be kind of tough. I mean, Justin Bethel has been the guy filling in for Jonathan Jones when he's been out, so having Bethel in against Jamison Crowder all game is not going to be fun on the day. So we're definitely going to have to mix some things up. This is what we were worried about with trading Gilmore and in that whole situation. And Jalen Mills is not going to really be in the slot that much. I wouldn't assume. Maybe he'll fill in there, and we'll have another outside corner. One of the depth pieces, Jawan Williams or a guy like that, play the outside against one of their other guys. But it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be kind of a big loss if Jonathan Jones and Godchaux both don't play. A couple other guys, Dante Hightower was limited today. He didn't participate yesterday. So we'll see if he keeps trending towards playing. Same with Dietrich Wise. There's a solid amount of starters on this list that are kind of going to be actually questionable to play. I think Godchaux, Jones, Hightower, and Dietrich Wise are all going to be kind of toss-ups. We'll see what their level of participation is tomorrow, but it's going to bring some opportunities for some guys on the interior, and I'm okay with seeing what Barmore has and Lawrence Guy. I think we got more depth there to step up, and the Jets running game isn't anything crazy, but that passing game, Jonathan Jones is going to be a real loss if he can't go and can't suit up on Sunday.
Yeah, Jonathan Jones will be big. Miles Bryant has only played 12 snaps all year, 21 snaps all year. 7 of them came out of the slot. All 7 of those coming week 5. So it's concerning, right? We're not going to have week 5 against Houston, I should say, but we're not going to have a lot of experience there if Jonathan Jones doesn't suit up. And that's what we're worried about. That's what we talked about a couple times in the regular season or the preseason before the season started, especially with the Gilmore situation, is that we're very young and we're very inexperienced at the cornerback position in the back half. So if Jonathan Jones doesn't suit up, that is going to be very, very, very concerning. I think the other one on that list too, obviously, that make their those lists, Kyle Van Noy, Dante Hightower, you figure those guys are going to play, but you never know, right? A surprising one. Kyle Van Noy's always been on there. Dante Hightower's getting up there in age. Does he have a nagging injury? You never know. I don't think that they do, but you always see those names. You always worry because the Patriots have been known for, throwing guys around and maybe sitting them out for a week or two if they truly don't need it. But I think the other thing that we haven't really talked about, the injury report, Chase Winovich going on IR. He's out at least 3 weeks too. So if Josh Uche can't come back or can't play this week, we're getting pretty slim on, speed pass rushers on the edge outside of Matt Judon.
And Uche's really quieted down from the preseason in the first couple weeks. I mean, we were seeing him flying all over the place. I think we both predicted beginning of the season he would lead the team in sacks. I think that's out the window. I think we both kind of figured more teams would put pressure on Judon and it would open up more opportunities for Uche, but he's really quieted down. I don't know if it's injuries limiting him. I'm not really sure what his deal is, but he was a guy that I think we were both excited about coming into the year. He made a lot of progress in the offseason. It seemed like he was, all preseason, all OTAs, training camp, all that stuff. We heard every day about how explosive Josh Uche was and how he was dominating our offensive line. And maybe that kind of is more of a down on our offensive line instead of an up on Uche's talent and potential. But I still think he's a great player with a lot of potential, and he's learning from some great playmakers on that defense side of the ball. So yeah, it's going to be a good opportunity for him to prove himself and continue to grow and carve out more of a role for himself. Chase Winovich going on the IR is definitely a loss. It's not the worst injury that could happen to our defense by any means, but it's definitely a loss, and it's going to be an opportunity for Uche to step up. So we'll see how he does and see how he carves out more of a role for himself.
Yeah, I'm excited to see these guys step up. Patriots have always been, I think Alex Barth said it, Alex Barth, when we were interviewing him, or maybe I heard it on a different one, but the Patriots might not have the most front end talent, but there are a ton of guys on the back end that could be, starting on other teams, especially the bottom half of the league. And I think that we'll see this now, the depth of some of these guys, and if they really are truly, worthy of playing and maybe earning a bigger contract. But yeah, you got to have these guys step up now that you're coming into injuries. The bye week's not any time close. We knew that going into the week. We don't have a break coming up in the next, month or month and a half where we're going to have a bye and we're going to let these guys have time to get healthy. So you got to do it good in the practice week, and you got to stay healthy on Sundays. So it's going to be a trick, but now it's time for guys to step up, make their way on to this roster permanently.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the depth on this team is kind of what we talked about early on was, hey, this team might not be the best, the most talented roster, the top end of it. Like the top 10 players might not be match up with the top 10 players on the Chiefs or the Bucs or whoever, you know what I mean? But depth wise, this team has a lot of that. And one of the few positions we don't have that depth is at corner. And so that's why Jonathan Jones, if he's out, is going to be kind of a notable loss, and we're definitely going to notice it. So this front seven, this defensive line in particular, is one of the deepest positions on this team. And so losing a guy obviously isn't good there, but if you're going to lose a guy at a position, I'd rather it be defensive line than corner, because we're a lot thinner at corner than we are at defensive line. So we got some pieces that are going to get their opportunities to step up, and I'm excited to see how they do. But one thing we haven't touched on yet is the quarterback position. Zach Wilson, obviously, his stats this year: 57.3% completion percentage, 1,117 yards, 4 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and they had a bye week this past week, so he's played one less game than Mac. But Mac continued his success: 71.1% completion percentage on the year, 1,472 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 6 picks. Obviously looks like the better rookie overall so far. Zach Wilson still has a tremendous amount of talent, and I think he's going to continue to improve. But what do you look to see from him this weekend, and how do you think he'll do against this Patriots defense?
Yeah, for Zach Wilson, it starts with turnovers, right? 4 interceptions the first time we played him. He had a 9.8 QBR and was sacked 4 times. Just total domination by New England's defense. I look for him to learn from his mistakes and, come out and be more ready to play than this. Once you play Bill once, it doesn't get easier, but you're at least a little more prepared. So I don't look for him to struggle as much as he did week 1 or game 1 when we played him in week 2. But I do still look for Bill to throw some confusing looks at him and for us to get him a couple times, because he is a very, I don't want to say, not protective of the ball, because I don't think any quarterback is just like careless with the ball outside of a few. Like Jameis Winston literally just throws stuff up. But Zach Wilson's a very aggressive quarterback, right? He's going to take shots down the field. He's going to throw stuff into tight windows because he believes he can. And he does have that ability. But if we are playing like we did in week 2 against them, and we trick him, we get him into a couple looks that he's not comfortable with, familiar with, and we get pressure in his face, he is going to throw us up some, and we're going to be able to take advantage like we did week 1. So the first thing for Zach Wilson for me is we got to make him uncomfortable and got to get him off of rhythm where he can't just sit back there, scramble, because he's a pretty elusive guy, and throw the ball wherever, whenever he wants. We got to make his timing off and make him make mistakes like we saw in the first game.
Yeah, for sure. That's going to be, I mean, if he doesn't throw 3 picks his first 3 throws, that's going to be an improvement off game 1. So yeah, I don't think he's going to throw 4 picks again. I'd be surprised. I think they've probably made the corrections. He's learned a lot from week 2 to week 6. I mean, the amount of growth, the amount of things he's seen he only had 1 NFL game under his belt when we played him the first time. Now he has 5, right? 5. Yeah. 5 games under his belt. It's a huge difference, especially just seeing this Patriots defense and how we wanted to attack him a few weeks ago. I think he'll definitely perform better. I don't think he's going to be phenomenal by any means, unless Jonathan Jones and a couple other key defensive pieces are out. Maybe he'll have more success, and we'll see how that turns out. We'll see what the injury report shows tomorrow and what player statuses are for the games. But I think he's definitely going to, I don't think we're going to see the same Zach Wilson we saw week 2. I think it's definitely going to be an improved version. He's probably the most improved thing I think we'll probably notice is his decision making and when he decides to make those throws that he thinks he can make, which, I mean, he's got all the arm talent in the world. I think he can make any throw he wants to, but he's really got to realize that his wide receivers aren't the only ones getting paid. The corners, the defensive backs, safeties, linebackers, everybody, they're all getting paid too, and they're really good at their job, and they've had a lot more experience than he has. So he's got to kind of learn when to make those throws and when not to take the risks. And I think he's definitely learned a lot from week 2 to week 6, 7 now. So it's gonna be fun to watch. I'm excited to see how this defense attacks him, and hopefully we can create those 4 interceptions again, because that'd be great. I think the outcome would be a lot different if we got 4 turnovers again than the week 2 outcome.
Yeah, of his so there's only 3 quarterbacks that have more turnover worthy plays according to Pro Football Focus in the NFL. Trevor Lawrence, Big Ben have 12, Sam Darnold has 11, and then Zach Wilson's right under them at 10. And that's of his 171 passing attempts, he has 10. Yeah, that doesn't seem like a lot, but that's every 5% of throws for him. And if he would have played this week, maybe that goes up by 1 or 2 and he's leading the league. So he's very susceptible of it. We got to get him in those positions to throw those. And I don't think that we need 4 interceptions to win this game. 1 or 2 always helps you. And we've said this before on the show, is if you win the turnover margin, it's a very, very high % chance that you win. So obviously it helps. Now, I don't think we need to go out and get 4 like we did last time we played them, even though it would be nice, like you mentioned. But we got to make him uncomfortable and can't give him any confidence. And that's the other thing too, is getting on him early, making him feel like he is in such a big hole because of the scoreboard that he has to make those plays. And they don't control the line of scrimmage with their running game. He can't make dink and dunk easy throws. He feels like he has to push the ball down the field because he's running out of time. And he's not just playing against the Patriots, he's playing against the clock. So getting up early on him will definitely help help the defense get into Zach Wilson and, getting a couple turnovers off of him.
Yeah. And I mean, like we've talked about a million times these first few weeks, if you lose the turnover battle, it's hard to win football games. So we lost the turnover battle last. Did we tie the turnover battle? We got 1 interception. No, against the Cowboys. 1 interception and 1 fumble recovery, right?
Yep.
On both sides. So we tied.
Yep.
Okay. So
yep.
Yeah. When you think about it, if we win that turnover battle by 1 instead of tying it, that game doesn't go into overtime. We probably end up winning. It's pretty much that simple. So if we can create turnovers against him, even if it's not 4, even if it's 1 or 2, that's huge. As long as we handle our end of the bargain, and on the offensive side of the ball, we take care of the football and no fumbles, no interceptions, no stupid penalties, mistakes like that, then we're going to have a great opportunity to win this football game. This Jets team is obviously struggling a little bit. They played well, like we said, against Tennessee a couple weeks ago, but this Patriots team is obviously the more talented football team from top to bottom. So taking care of the football and limiting mistakes and forcing as many turnovers as you can against this kid, giving him different looks and making him make some tight throws and execute correctly, it is going to be the biggest thing here. So if we can get a couple turnovers, if we get 1 or 2 picks on this kid, I think it's definitely going to be a win. And I think that's what this defense needs to do to continue to build momentum.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the defense has been one of the most disappointing or the secondary, I should say, has been disappointing. They've had their good times, but they've had their times where they could have gotten out of drives and, very, very, or help us win the game or have a probability to win the game getting out of those late drives. And we just haven't done it. So I look for them to have a bounce back week. I wanted to show this clip from of Zach Wilson just to show his ability. Like we're talking about, like if even on the run too, when he's scrambling. So this is their week 4 win against the Titans, where no one thought they had a chance. But even when he's scrambling, he can make throws 50, 60 yards down the field and hit guys. So even when he's scrambling, the corners are going to have to stay in coverage. The safeties are going to continue to have to get depth. But here you see him rolling out to his right, and he's going to throw this on the run from the 30 to the 20. 60 yards right there, right to one of his receivers. You saw the other one too that he scored to Corey Davis. He has all the ability in the world to make plays like this. And this is what we don't want to see him do. We want to see him scramble, but we got to keep our corners in coverage so that we don't have guys running down the field open because we thought that Zach Wilson was going to run it. So staying in coverage on the back end, but also getting pressure consistently on the front end to where he can't just set his feet, throw, run around the pocket and do stuff like that is going to be big. So I'm excited to see this defense get more pressure on him. They had 4 sacks on him in the first game. I hope we get somewhere close to that. And we can make him uncomfortable, especially in New England with our home crowd, get that crowd involved and get them excited for, our first win.
Yeah, and that was Keelan Cole. I wasn't positive if it was him or not because
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if he was on the Jets, but I thought he just signed this year. That was 88. But yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said there. It's gonna be big to get pressure on him, and he's not an easy guy to contain in the pocket. He can make those throws on the runs like you just showed. He's got probably the most arm talent in this class. He can make all the throws from any arm angle on the run, running either way. He's got a cannon. He's just got to learn to process when to use it and when to say, okay, this play doesn't have a chance. Let me just throw it away, or let me throw it to the check down, something like that. That's the main thing we saw him struggle with was last game we played him was, oh, hey, Corey Davis is down the field in double coverage, but I like Corey Davis. I'm going to throw it to him instead of, hey, I got a check down right here that nobody's covering him that can pick up 10 yards, but I'm not going to throw that. I'm going to try to make the difficult throw, try to make the big play. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing we notice from week 2 to now week 6 or 7 is that, hey, this kid probably is going to say, okay, you know what? That throw isn't there. I'm going to throw to the check down. And if he can do that half as much as he didn't do it last time, then he's going to be in a lot better shape than they were week 2. So it's going to be a big thing to watch is seeing how he performs is going to really dictate how this game goes. Because if he performs well, holds onto the football, takes care of it, and hits the checkdowns, then it's going to be a lot closer game than we'd like it to be. So I'm excited to see how this defense forces him into making some tight throws, tough throws. Even if he completes them, just making him consistently make those tough throws is going to be something that's going to be hard for a rookie to do and continue to make good decisions and tough throws. So we're bound to force a turnover if we force him into those throws. So that's what we got to focus on doing this week.
Yeah, and the second half of this, graphic and thing that we haven't really talked about, excuse me, is Mac Jones, right? Mac Jones has been great. He didn't play significantly incredible against the Jets when we played him. 22 for 30, 186 yards, and no touchdowns, no receptions. Just kind of what we talked about. He wasn't super explosive week 1 when we played him. He didn't make mistakes, which was good, but we didn't score in the red zone. We had 4 interceptions. We still only put up 25 points. I look for Mac to continue to target Hunter Henry. And like we talked about in the early part of this show, Jonnu Smith, right, in the red zone. We got to figure out those red zone issues. We got to continue to put the ball in and get 7 points instead of 3. And that week 2 game could have easily been 35, 40 points if we just score 2 more touchdowns in the red zone instead of going, let's see, what did we go? We were red zone. We were 1 for 3, right? So if we even go 2 for 3, 3 for 3, we're in the 30-point range. That's the highest we've scored all year. And maybe continue to extend some drives. So I look for Mac Jones to continue to improve and, put on a show for the home crowd so that we can get his first win in Gillette Stadium. And it would be a big time for us to move us to 3-4 instead of 2-5.
Yeah, especially with the way things have gone and just the sense of urgency I think this football team needs to have right now. If you lose to the Jets, who are, not the best football team, they're 1-4, 1-3, something like that. Yeah. So, yeah, 1-4. If you lose to them and move your record to 2-5, and you're tied with the Jets or the Jets would actually go ahead of us in the standings because they'd be 2-4. So we'd move ourselves to possibly last in the division if the Dolphins win this week. So that's not what you want to see. Going to 3-4 and seeing how the Bills do this week. I'm not sure who they play. Well, actually they have a bye week. Right?
They have a bye. Buffalo's on bye. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's an early bye week. Yep. Same with the Jets last week. So yeah, big game. Gotta take care of these ones. You're a good football team. You need to win these games that you should against poor football teams. So I know the record at 2-4 doesn't show we're a good football team, but they got all the talent in the world to compete and be a playoff football team. So that starts here. You want to turn things around. No better chance to do that than beat the Jets, go on to next week and do your thing, whoever we play next week. So yeah, great opportunity for not only our defense to try to force Zach Wilson into making these tough throws and turning the ball over again, but for this offense to clean things up, be better in the red zone. I think we're a lot better now than we were that week 2 game. Obviously, Hunter Henry's been a big factor in that. Our running game's been improved, and we've started to use that wildcat package a little bit where Damian Harris just takes it and runs it in. So I think overall the offense will be better than it was week 2, and maybe the defense won't be as good turnover-wise, but I look to see them to continue to put pressure on this kid and see what he's got.
Totally agree. Let's get into our score predictions, spread predictions, everything that we have previewing this game. Cole last week 3-2. This is
3
on
and 4.
games 3 and 4. Sorry, yeah,
I messed up
forgot
the
you told me
graphic.
that. Yeah, spread predictions. This is on last week. So Cole was 3 for 4. I absolutely crapped the bed 1-6. The only one I got right was the Raiders. So that was bad. That was a bad week. But
if you want, you can skip the over under records last week. We don't need to really see that graphic.
I make up for it there, so that's okay.
Yeah.
But on the year, that puts Cole 11-9, me 8-12. For game spreads, continue to do that every week. And then over and unders for this week, Cole's 2-6, 5-3 for me. So that puts us on the year. Cole 5-11, me 7-9. Both under 500. So neither of us are doing good on those. And I think we're both under 500 for the spreads too. So, oh no, you're over. I'm under.
Just
so we're
just over.
So we're not killing it.
Not
by
starting
any
off
means.
too.
We're
Not starting off too great.
definitely not being tempted to go to Vegas. So
Yeah,
that's good.
No. At least we know now. We're testing it out. We're seeing, okay, maybe this is not our plan in life that we should be doing this too much. But hopefully we can turn it around this week. Starts this week. We're gonna turn it around. Here we go.
For sure. And then on the score predictions, which is the Patriots game, Cole gets the win last week because he did pick the Cowboys correctly. He was 13 points off the correct score, combined score. I was 12 points off, but because I picked the Patriots, it really doesn't matter. I don't think that I should get the win. So Cole gets that. So Cole takes a 2-1 lead on that one. But let's get right into it. Patriots, Jets, over under 43 points here. This is kind of a low one, but kind of a high one considering it was only 31 scored last game. What are your thoughts?
I have the unders again. I think it's going to be close. I think there's definitely going to be more points scored this time around than last time, but I think in my score prediction, I have it just under. So I'm going to go with the under on this one.
All right. And crazy enough, because it's not a half-point spread, my prediction is actually right at 43. So I don't even know how to do it. I guess just give me the over, but it's crazy. I'm literally right at 43. So I'm going to go over just because I think that New England's offense can definitely score more than what I projected them to if we figure out the issues that we had last time we played the Jets. So I'm going to go over, even though my score is literally right at 43. But give me the over.
All right. And then we'll
Yep.
Move on to the Pats line. Pats Jets 1 p.m. obviously. Patriots minus 6.5. What you got for this one?
Yeah, I have over on this one too. It's we beat them by what do we beat them by? I'm trying to do quick math. 19 last time, 25-6. And I think it can be a lot worse than that. We can play better on offense, probably not better on defense, but I think we can still hold them without turnovers. We can still hold them. We can still get turnovers, great turnovers. I look for us to dominate in the run game. The thing is with them running the ball so well with 152 yards is they were able to get reasonable second and third downs, even when Zach Wilson wasn't throwing the interceptions. They were able to get reasonable first downs and make it easy for him where they can open up the playbook. So I look for us to shut down the run more than we did game one and extend this victory that we had last week. So I'm gonna go with us covering.
Yeah, I'm really not loving my prediction right now, honestly. But I'm gonna go with the Jets covering this one. I think I have it as a 6-point game, which we'll get into in a second. But just assuming that some of these guys don't play, and if we decide to rest some guys because it's the Jets and we think we can still beat them without them, then Jonathan Jones, if he's not out, I think that's going to be a bigger factor than people really think. And then seeing if Godchaw's in there, if we struggle against the run with him, then without him is obviously going to be a little bit of a hit. So seeing a couple guys there, Hightower's going to be questionable along with Dietrich Wise. So we get some pieces in that front seven and in the secondary that are questionable. So assuming that the defense doesn't play to the 4 picks potential that they played last time and that we can't confuse them as much as we did, then I'm going to say it's going to be a little bit of a closer game. I have the Jets just barely covering this one, but really don't feel confident about it because I think we could win this football game handily if the defense does its job. Because I think this offense is going to be a lot better than it was last time. Our offense.
Yeah. So the New York Jets, I know you said last week that I always pull out these stats after you pick, but I'm going to do it again. The Jets are 1-4 against the spread this year. New England's 2-4, so they're not much better.
Like, you gotta send me these things ahead of time, so
New England's not much better. They're 2-4, so I mean, it's not like we're picking two teams. But yeah, like you mentioned, those injuries can definitely come into play, and that could easily swing it because I am pretty close to 6 on mine. But let's get into the Patriots prediction right here. Cole has a close game, 27 or 23-17 New England. I have 27-16 New England. So an 11-point victory for me, 6 points for Cole, like he said. But Cole, get into why you think it's 23-17 New England.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, kind of the same thing that I mentioned. We scored 20, what was it, 25?
25.
25 points against them last time, and that was with 4 turnovers. So I think our offense will be better than it was last time, but I think that we're not going to have the same amount of opportunities because I don't think we'll get 4 turnovers. I think maybe 1 or 2 is probably more realistic. So I think we're just going to have less opportunities to score, but I think we're going to capitalize on those opportunities more. So I have it kind of a low scoring game. That's kind of how this football team's played so far. This Jets defense is solid. They should have Mosley good to go, and Marcus May started practicing again, I believe. So we'll see. We'll see what their statuses are for the game. But I think the Jets could put up 17 points. I mean, they only put up 6 last time, but if they don't, you take away 2 of those turnovers and they move the ball a little better with a couple guys out, I think it could be a close game. But if the Patriots do their thing and they don't have guys injured, I think it's going to be a lot closer to your score prediction and maybe even 27 to 30 points to maybe 10 to 13 points. So it depends on the injury situation for these players, but I have it, us missing a few key players, I have it being a little bit of a closer game.
Yeah, I have 27-16, scored 25 points last time, and our offense was pretty stagnant. We really got helped out by the turnovers and having short field. I look for our offense to continue rolling. Hunter Henry has been on a roll. Damian Harris looked good last week. Offensive line somewhat coming together. A little continuity and a little stability on the front will go a long ways for them. Mac Jones is better than he was week 2. And I just look for them to score more points than 25, even though they are going to have less chances. I think they're going to be more effective. And then I really do think we're not going to get 4 turnovers, but we're not going to give up many points. Maybe a touchdown, a couple field goals here and there. But I'm looking forward to New England going out and getting this home win. It's going to happen, right? They're not going to go 0-8 at home. Like, this is going to be their first home win, and it's going to be first of many this year. I'm going to speak it into existence.
I think we got 9 home games this year with the 17 games.
There we go. That's even better. So that means we can finish the season 5-4 at home. There you go, right?
If we lose this one, we're gonna have a negative record at home this year. That wouldn't be good. So we got to win this one because we also got one against Buffalo. That's not going to be an easy one to win. So, yikes. Oof. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got Tennessee, I think, at home as well, and maybe the Browns. So we got some tough games at home this year. But yeah, it's gonna be the first of many, hopefully, where we can kind of turn this thing around and get a positive record at home. 0-4 starting at home is pretty horrendous. I don't know the last time we've done that. Probably in the 90s, I would have to assume, or maybe even before that. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's should be a good game. Should be fun to watch. Hopefully we get our first home win. Hopefully it's a little closer to your score prediction than mine, because I'm not looking to have another tight game against a bad team and have to be frustrated watching the entire thing, watching us struggle against people we really should be not struggling at all against. So it's going to be fun, but we'll go get into our over-under projections, and we'll start off with the Jets wide receiver, Jamison Crowder, over-under 51.5 yards. What you got for this one?
Yeah, so I like Jamison Crowder, and this one's kind of dependent on whether or not Jonathan Jones plays, because Jamison Crowder is going to be he's a very good pass catcher in the slot. So 51.5, I'm going to go over here because I really do think we're going to shut down the run way more effectively than last time, and they're going to have to throw the ball. Corey Davis will get some, but I think Jamison Crowder's the best bet on this one. Corey Davis more of the long ball threat. Jamison Crowder's going to probably have 10 targets, and he can easily catch 6-7 of those, and that's only 10 yards a catch if he wants to get over this 51.5. So I'm going to go over for Jamison Crowder.
Yeah, this is kind of a tough one. If Jonathan Jones isn't there, then I think he's definitely going to go over. But I think if Jonathan Jones is there, we can probably hold him to under that. He had 24 yards last week receiving and 61 the week before against Tennessee in that win. So yikes. I'm going to go with the over as well. I think we'll probably pay more attention to Corey Davis. Yeah, I'm going to go with the over. I don't feel great about that one. I just, the over/under record that I had last week, I can't really feel too great about any predictions that I make this week, but I'm gonna go with the over on that one as well. And we'll get into the next one. Hunter Henry over/under 37.5. What you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go over here too. He hasn't been racking up a ton of receiving yards, but I think that this is very doable, especially he gets another 20-yard touchdown, red zone targets. This is very doable. I'm gonna go over here. And I think that Mac Jones has a big day too, running the ball, setting up play actions. Tight ends are the biggest beneficiaries of play action passes. So I'm gonna go with the over here for Hunter Henry.
Yeah, me as well. I mean, he hasn't put up a bunch of yards. Houston was his best week, 75 yards. Had 42 against the Jets last time, but I think he could have another good game and get him involved a little more, get both these tight ends involved. So I have him for the over on that one as well.
For sure. Let's go to Hunter Henry's streak. Will it continue? Over or under a half a touchdown? So do you think that he gets a touchdown for the 4th straight week?
I got him going 4 in a row. 4 in a row over on that one. 1 touchdown for Hunter Henry this week. I just think he's been a red zone monster for us these past 3 weeks. He's really been getting involved. Him and Mac have a chemistry in that red zone area. Mac made a beautiful throw to him last week. That was one of his best throws on the year. Just the anticipation. I mean, Hunter Henry hadn't even made his break yet when Mac threw that ball, and he placed it perfect. Dropped it right in front of the safety and right behind the corner, and Hunter Henry made the nice diving grab. So I got him and Mac continuing the chemistry against the Jets and going over for this one.
I agree. I'm going over here too. We will veer. I promise you guys, we won't pick all the same picks, but I'm gonna go over here too. The thing that's been working and what has kind of solved our red zone issues up to this point has been Mac targeting Hunter Henry. So I don't know why he wouldn't do it, why Josh wouldn't call plays for him to be able to target him. And like you mentioned, I think 2 of his best throws from the year, the one in the Houston game and the one last week to Hunter Henry, and both touchdowns have been 2 of his, better, most accurate throws, anticipation wise, placement wise, ball accuracy. So I agree. I think that he's going to get this again, and there's going to be many more touchdown scorers.
Yeah, hopefully on that one. But we'll continue on to Michael Carter over under 45.5 yards. What do you got?
So I'm going to go under here. I think that Michael Carter, I think that they go kind of running back by committee here, right? Last time we played them, they had multiple guys go for good yardage. Michael Carter, Ty Johnson, Tevin Coleman. I think that they're going to use all 3 of them sparingly. And I think that if we do get down on them, our run defense is going to be better than what it was last game. So he won't be having as many opportunities to carry it, because last game they carried it 31 times, but they were averaging, well over 4 yards a carry. So that's why they kept going back to it. If it's not working, they're not going to go to it. So I'm going to go under for Michael Carter.
Is this total or rushing?
This is rushing. Just rushing.
I'm going to go under as well. Yeah. I'm going to go under as well, because he's only had more than that yardage wise once. And I think our defensive line is a lot better against the run. Their chemistry they've built has really improved from the last time we played them. So I'm going to go under as well for this one, even though we're picking all the same ones right now. But we'll go on to Damian Harris over under 64.5. What you got?
I'm going to pick a shocker. I'm going to go under. I think Ramondre Stevenson earned himself an extended role this week. I think they're going to spell Damian Harris a little bit, especially with chest issues that he's been having, ribs and stuff. Even though he seems like he was fine from it, they're going to give him a little bit of a blow. And I still think he gets up over 50, but I think that this 65-yard mark that is set at is kind of a lot. Ramondre Stevenson only had 5 carries last week and 3 targets, but I think he's going to get up in that Tedward carry range, and Damian Harris might still get 18 to 20, but I'm going to go under here for Damian Harris.
I was gonna go under. I thought that one would be different, but I'll go over to switch it up, because we can't have all the same ones. This
I see. I thought I was being different. That's crazy.
That's what I was gonna do. I was like, I'll go under. This one will be different, but I'll go over. I think it could go either way. I kind of agree with you there in the under perspective, but I'll go over. Have confidence that he might break a big one, and that'll put him over the 64.5. But moving on to the quarterbacks, Mac Jones over under 246.5 yards. What you got?
Only 186 yards last game he played them. If we continue to run the ball effectively, might take a little bit of his opportunities away, chew the clock. But he was not very effective in that first game we played. So I'm going to go over here to 46. He's averaging right around that pretty much every game so far this year. He's averaging right at, gosh, I had it pulled up and then I switched it off. He's averaging right at 245.3. So
Wow.
he's close there. He's a yard off, and I think that he still gets this here, and it's an explosive day for Mac Jones.
I hope so. I'm gonna go under though to keep switching it up. I'm gonna go under. I think it's gonna be close as well. I think he really could go over. Just with the passing game, I think it's gonna have more success. But I'm gonna go under and say the running game kind of takes a decent amount of the yards, and Mac stays under that 246.5. But I think it could be close. I think he's gonna have a good day. Should be fun to. I love watching him continue to progress each week and getting to see him every single week. He's had a turnover 4 games straight. So hopefully this week is one week where he cleans that up and no mistakes, no balls through receivers' hands, nothing like that. And we play a clean game. It's gonna be key to winning a division game at home. So we'll go to the other quarterback, Zach Wilson, over under 228.5 yards.
I'm gonna let you pick this one first, and then I'll make my decision after that or I'll see if it changes it, because I feel like I might have a little advantage going first. But I'll let you go first this time, so you can go.
Oh, you got some insider information again?
No, I don't. I don't
yeah.
have any inside info.
I'm going to say mine, and then you'd be like, well, actually, Cole, statistic that I saw today was...
Yeah, well, my statistic I used last week on the Browns didn't even help, because Nick Chubb didn't even play, and then Kareem Hunt got hurt. So no more statistics for me. It doesn't even help me.
Although the Cardinals were out their head coach, so I thought that was going to screw me. I was like, oh, gosh. I picked the Cardinals, and their head coach isn't even playing, so that's great. I'm going to go... yikes. I'm going to go under on this one. He's only gone over this twice. That was week 1 and week 4. Yeah, I'm gonna go under. I don't feel great about that one either, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over here just because they're coming off a bye. They had an extra week to prepare for New England. Seems like maybe they'll have not the answers, but they are a little bit more prepared. New England, watching the game from week 2, watching them play Dallas, maybe have a little bit different packages in. So I'm going to go over here. Yeah, like you mentioned, he had 297 against Tennessee, 258 week 1 against Carolina. He's averaging 223 a year, but he's definitely capable. If he hits one long ball, that's a very easy target, manageable number for him at 228, which I hope he doesn't, but I'm going to go over.
He also had 210 against us last time, and he really struggled. So the over is probably the right pick there, but I already said under, so I'm sticking with it.
And then let's finish up right here. This is a different one because we didn't have prop bets for touchdowns, like how many they were going to score other than Hunter Henry. So we're going total touchdowns here between both teams, 4.5.
What do I have? Stand by. Quick
math, right?
All right. So I have under on this one. I think with the way, because then I got field goals. So yeah. I got under on this one. I got 4 touchdowns total. But I guess I'm gonna go under. I don't feel great about that one either. I kind of wanted to go over, but I'm going under.
Yeah, well, I think I technically have mine how I got there as over, because 3 by New England to get to 21, and then 2 at 14, and then I don't know, maybe I have a field goal in there. I just put 16 because I was thinking more of like the combined score, but I'm gonna go over here. I think that they're gonna get to 5 touchdowns as a combined or more. I think that New England can easily go over their 27 that I had them projected as, and maybe they score 4 on their own and they miss a Nick Folk PAT. That's how I got to 27. So it doesn't matter how they get to 27. It just matters that I picked 27. So whatever way, if it's a safety or a block 2-point conversion for 1 point, I don't care how you get it. Just get me 27. So no, I'm going to go over though on total touchdowns here.
Yeah, I think if we have more success in the red zone and really take advantage of our opportunities, it should be over, but we'll see what happens. And hopefully Zach Wilson doesn't have too much success, and hopefully we have those 5 touchdowns on our own and they got none. That'd make me happy. So
yes,
we'll see for that one. But moving on to the Pick'em. So Broncos at Browns -1.5. What you got for this one?
I chose the Broncos just because, all the injuries, the uncertainty with how they're going to play with Case Keenum there. Baker's out, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt's out. I know this game's going on. I haven't looked at it in a while, but I chose the Broncos before we even started this. So,
yep, I chose the Broncos as well, +1.5. Not looking so good. They're down 17 to something.
17-7.
They're down 17-7 right now, so that's not great. Starting off the week, probably 0-1 again. Not great for either of us, but hey, you never know. Maybe they'll come back. I'm surprised. This Broncos team, we were just talking about it off air or whatever. They kind of stink right now. They're not. I mean,
Yeah.
3-0 to start the year against 3 horrible teams, but ever since then they haven't been competitive with anybody basically. So they're not looking too good. They gotta turn this around. They can't beat the Browns missing their starting quarterback. So that's not great news for Broncos fans, but they've been struggling.
Yeah, it's concerning for Broncos fans with the wins they've gotten and the losses they've had. So, yep.
Chiefs at Titans. This one, 1:00 on Sunday, going to be another really good one. Titans just beat the Bills. Bills just beat the Chiefs the other day. Chiefs had a little bit of a bounce back game. Tough first half against Washington, but then second half they really kind of turned it around and looked more like the Chiefs that we remember from the past couple of years. But Chiefs at Titans. Chiefs -5. What you got on this one?
I'm going to go Titans here, and this might be riding the wave, but Derrick Henry has looked unstoppable, and I don't think that the Chiefs have anyone that can stop him, and the best way to stop Patrick Mahomes is keep his offense off the field. And if they can chew up clock and Derrick Henry can run wild like a madman, I think that Tennessee has this game, especially at home, coming off of a great win against Buffalo. They could beat 2 of the top teams in the AFC and re-cement themselves after that tough loss to the Jets, as you know, a contender out of the AFC. So I'm going to go with Tennessee here, covering that 5-point spread.
I thought I was going to be different. I
hate the Chiefs. I screw the Chiefs. I'll never pick them.
All right, perfect. That's what I like to hear right there. Me too. I'm not a fan of the Chiefs either. They there's not many teams that I'd like to see lose more than them.
It's the constant talks of how they're the next Patriots dynasty. It's like they freaking had one Super Bowl
Mahomes
run.
is already the GOAT, even though he's won one Super Bowl. Obviously, he's very talented, but yeah, just the comparisons that the media likes to make so quickly when we had 20 years of absolute dominance, 9 Super Bowl appearances, 6 wins. I mean, just, it's the media. Like if media didn't exist and it was just you watch the football games and whatever, I would have no problem with the Chiefs. I still wouldn't probably like them just because kind of the battles we've had and that they're going to the Super Bowl and we're not. But I mean, it's the media that makes me dislike the Chiefs so much and dislike Patrick Mahomes, just because, I mean, the way everybody just wants to act like he can do no wrong. He's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He's already better than Brady ever will be or was, and the Patriots and all. It's just like, it's a little ridiculous. I know he's talented. I know he's probably the most talented quarterback in the NFL right now, but it's a little early. I'd like to see him do it for 5 years before we call it the Patriots 20-year dynasty. So
yeah,
that's my reasoning for that. But a little insider information here: Tennessee 4-2 against the spread. Kansas City 2-4. So
you're looking at my spreadsheet. I'm looking at.
I sure am. Team rankings right here.
Yes, teamrankings.com.
Yep.
I lost my upper head.
Yeah, I had to even it out here. You were coming up with all these stats and stuff. I had to even out the against the spread to pick this one. No, I got the Titans. I think they might even win outright. Derrick Henry's been a beast. The Chiefs defense has been horrible. I think he could feast again. He seems like no team can stop him. I mean, this guy's a freak. It seems like usually running backs start to wear down. He gets better as the year goes on, and I can't wait for our Patriots to get run over by him in week 15 or 14 and whatever week it is late in the year right before the bye, I think.
Yeah, I think it's
We play the Jets this week, obviously. Jets just came off their bye. Next week we play, I think, the Chargers.
We have the Chargers next week,
Chargers, and they're on their bye this week. So back to back, we're facing teams coming off their bye, and I think that happens quite a bit this year because I looked early in the year and our bye week, or the week we play teams, like 4 or 5 different times they have their bye right before it. So that's not great. Like when the schedule first came out, we had like one of the least amount of rest differential or whatever with the team we were about to face. They were almost always the more rested team based off bye weeks and all that stuff. So that wasn't a great stat coming into the year. But yeah, Jets get their bye week last week, coming off a bye, 2 weeks to prepare for us, and then Chargers team we face next week is going to be a tough one, and they're going to have a couple weeks to rest and prepare for us as well. So that's not great to hear. But
They just have
Well,
to even out the odds with Bill preparing. They're like, we have to give these teams 2 weeks so they're so prepared like Bill. But
exactly. Yeah.
that's
With
okay.
the 2-4 Patriots, they really have to prepare the 2 weeks for. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. All right, Bears at Bucks. This one's a big spread. Bucks
Yeah.
-12. What you got?
Yeah, I hate big spreads. 12 points. I don't like this. I'm gonna go with the Bears here. That's just a big spread, and I know Tom Brady's very capable of doing that, but it's a big spread in the NFL. And I think the Bears have a pretty good defense. They can get to Brady with Khalil Mack, with Leonard Floyd, guys like that. Their offense is gonna be the part that struggles to keep up with the Bucks, but the Bucks have not had a very good defense so far this year, and their secondary's banged up. So I'm gonna go with the Bears covering this 12-point spread.
Especially if Brady holds up the 4 again, and it's
Huh?
fourth down. Fourth down. It's not fourth down. Oh, I just turnover on downs. Oh, yeah. No, I think 12 is a huge spread. I mean, we thought they were gonna cover the 6.5 or something against the Eagles. Um, I got the Bucks in this one as well. -12 is a huge spread. Even if you're beating down a team and you soften the coverage up a little bit late in the game, they can score some points and make it a little closer than that. But yikes, yeah, that's a big spread. -12 in the NFL is, I mean, you don't see many more spread. You don't see spreads very often bigger than that. I think the Chiefs had a couple last year that were bigger than that, like -14, it's stuff like that. But that's crazy. So I'm gonna go with the Bucks on this one as well. But we'll move on to the Sunday night game. Colts at 49ers. Niners -4.5. What you got?
Give me the Colts. Is that different? Were you going Colts? Dang. Oh well, we can be 6-0 together. That's fine.
All right. I'll take that.
No,
Niners are 1-4 against the spread.
yeah.
Indianapolis is
4-2.
or 4-2. Yeah.
And like, I know we're just throwing out these records like it means the world, which in reality it doesn't. It does help that teams can cover, but I think that the Colts defense, they lost a big blow today. Julian Blackmon tore his Achilles in practice, big part of their secondary, but they still have Darius Leonard, Jonathan Taylor. Talk about a guy that's been going off like Derrick Henry. Jonathan Taylor's been doing great things in that backfield. San Francisco, Trey Lance, still young, still getting experience in there. And their running back situation is kind of atrocious. So I'm gonna go with the Colts here, especially with a 4.5 point spread. This could easily be, Sunday night football. A lot of it seems to come down to the last second field goal or something like that. So I'm gonna go Colts here with this 4.5 point spread.
Just to switch it up, I'll go Niners. Even if the Niners don't cover the spread, I'm gonna be pissed. If no, I'm gonna stick with the Colts. I'm gonna go with the Colts. Yeah,
Stick with your gut.
yeah. I just even though the Niners, Jimmy G is supposed to be back and playing on Sunday, I'm still gonna stick with the Colts. They need a win. They need a win here if they want to keep up with Tennessee, who just won a big game, and if they win again this weekend, it's gonna be tough trying to beat them in the division. So I'm gonna go with the Colts in this one as well. I think they need this one, and hopefully their pieces can step up. They just got T.Y. Hilton back.
That's a big one.
Yeah, hopefully he can help them out, take some pressure off Michael Pittman as well. So I'm gonna go with the Colts in this one as well. But last one we got Saints at Seahawks. Saints -4.5.
I like the Seahawks here. You're going Saints?
Yes.
All right. So we're one off. All right. There we go. We do get a little different one, but I like the Seahawks. That means we're either going to go 1-5 or 5-1. It's either going to be super good picks
or super bad.
Or super bad. So that's great. But no, I think the Seahawks actually pretty impressed me with Geno Smith.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the Saints are very susceptible to, not having a game. Jameis Winston can throw some things up. The Seahawks still have a capable defense. Jamal Adams is a beast. Bobby Wagner, guys flying around that defensive side, and it's in Seattle on a Monday night. I think what I've learned from doing these game picks the first 2-3 weeks is that primetime games really do mean a lot. Like they're always closer than what we think, right? Like no one thought that the Seahawks game was going to be that close. We both picked the Steelers there. Seahawks almost beat them. So I'm sick of, saying that teams are going to win by 7 or 8. I think that this is a field goal game when it comes down to it, and it's going to be the Seahawks covering.
Yep, that's why I'm going with the Seahawks as well.
I persuaded you.
Yeah, no, we got to be different on one. We can't pick them all the same this week. I'm going to go with the Saints. I don't feel great about it though, because we saw what they did against the Steelers last week. And primetime games this year, Sunday night, Monday night, have always been so much closer than anticipated. They're always really tight games. I mean, Pats and Bucks was a 2-point game last week without Russell Wilson, Geno Smith. They went right down to the wire, almost beat the Steelers. So yeah, it's probably gonna be a close one. Hopefully the Saints maybe score a late touchdown or something and go ahead or something like that. Beat them by 5 or 6, 2 field goals, something. So just to differ it up, we got to at least pick one different. We can't be 6 for 6 on this one and all on the same picks unless we both went 6 for 6. That'd be good. But good. I got the Saints in this one. Hopefully Kamara goes off. He's on my fantasy team, so that'd be nice. I could use a
double whammy. Double whammy for you.
That would be great. But yeah, I got the Saints.
I like it. Well, that's our game picks right there. Pretty similar in most things, but a little bit different variations. Patriots take on the Jets this week. It's always weird seeing 1 p.m. Eastern time for me because that's 11 for me. And so when I don't say 1 o'clock game, I say 1 or I say 11 or 2. I'm
That's
like,
so odd
oh, they
me.
play at 11 or they play at 2.
That's
1
so
o'clock
weird.
still kind of gets me, but yeah, it's
I would
funny.
I would love that though, honestly. I mean,
nice.
that means football a couple hours after you're getting up in the morning and all that stuff, and then I mean until nighttime, but not late at night. Because I mean, like primetime games get down at like 11:30 for me here, so it's like I mean it's kind of late, especially. Yeah, so it's what is it? You said 2 hours earlier, so they get down to like 9:30 for you.
Yeah, about 9:15, 9:30. Yeah,
I mean that's perfect.
The one time it is weird is when they play in London or England, and then it's like I'm waking up like 8:15 and there's a game going on. I'm like, what the crap's going on?
Yeah, that's gonna be on. That's not often.
That's not often, right?
And they're not like primetime great games. So I'd rather miss a London game than the primetime Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night football game. So yeah, should be a good one this week. You got anything else before we wrap it up?
I don't. I'm excited. This is going to be the first Patriots home win of the season. Manifest it, believe it. It might not be an impressive win for some fans, but take a win when you can, right? As we found out, you can't take wins for granted in the National Football League. They're hard to come by. And when you got a team that's, competing but not winning these close games, just getting one of those wins in that win column will give them confidence, change it, hopefully get on a roll before the bye week here in the next month or so. If we could rattle off 5-6 wins before the bye week, that would be nice. Get us right back in that wild card hunt and maybe in a wild card spot, as right now we're still a couple games behind, even though it's early. But no, I'm excited to watch them play. I'm excited to watch 2 young quarterbacks battled out. That's going to be in the AFC East for the next couple of years in the future, and continue to watch this team, grow.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's going to be a rivalry between these two for years to come. One thing that I didn't know if you wanted to touch on at all, the rumors about Deshaun Watson getting traded to Miami. Do you want to touch on that at all? Or it's kind of nothing's been, it almost seemed like it was confirmed and he was going there at one point this week. And then Ian Rappaport said today that nothing's in the near future right at this moment. So do you want to touch on that at all? Or
from what I heard, it seems like the owner wants it more than the coach and stuff like that.
Flores does not want him.
Yeah, which I get it, right? You're a head coach and you're going with you're dealing with a 1-5 team right now who's severely underachieving expectations after finishing with 10 wins last year. And you're going to bring a guy that who knows what his status is. And you'll probably most definitely have to give up Tua and multiple firsts back to Houston. It could just, I agree with Flores. I think if Deshaun Watson got cleared, that's a great trade. And it would suck to watch him play in Miami. But right now, I don't know how anyone can feel comfortable touching him. I don't. I think that would be dumb. And I hope they do, because it would, if he does get convicted, if they trade a arm and a leg for him and he can't play and now they're just screwed. They gave up 2 first-round picks. I mean, it would help the Patriots.
That would make me happy. But I also, I mean, can you imagine they trade 3 first-rounders and Tua and end up getting Deshaun back, and then he can't play, he's suspended, and he's toast, and they have to start all over again.
Yeah.
That would, but they'd probably get a top 3 pick this year. Or no, because their first-round pick this year goes to the Eagles, right?
Yep. Dude, the Eagles could have 3 top 10 picks between
That's
their own.
wild.
I think they have one from Indianapolis, and then
Miami.
they have one from Miami. So
That's
they could
crazy.
get 3 top 10 picks easily. But yeah, no, I would not want to stay. I would not want to be around Deshaun Watson with the situation he's in right now. If he was clear, yeah, I'd pull the trigger any day. He was the talk of the offseason when he had requested a trade before all this stuff came out. But for me, whoever it does, I think it's just benefiting the league because I think they're doing them they're doing their own team a disservice. I don't know how you can want to bring that distraction into the locker room and off the field issues. So
Not only that, but if it is true, anything that is being alleged, and I mean, nobody wants a guy with that character in your locker room. That doesn't do anything good for a football team. Doesn't do anything good for the image of the organization, the team in general. Having a guy like that, trading for him, knowing his situation, that's I mean, it's a bad look. If he was proven to be not guilty, if these talks were about Deshaun coming to the Patriots and he was not guilty and he was free of all charges, he was good to go, I'd want Deshaun
be
in a
stoked.
second.
Oh, yeah.
He's so good. He's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league every year he's out there. He torches us every time we play him. So if he goes to the Dolphins, Patriots fans, buckle up. It's going to be a long next decade because it's going to be Deshaun Watson and Josh Allen in our division. And Zach Wilson. He's going to be good too. It's going to go from one of the worst divisions in football and us having our defense is just scaring and torching these quarterbacks week to week from these quarterbacks being some of the best in the league in our division. So that would be scary. So hopefully he doesn't go to Miami. Tua hasn't been impressive, but I can't believe they just picked him and they're already giving up on him so quickly, especially with he's only played 2 games this year, right? And the first one was decent against the Patriots. He did enough to win, even though he wasn't great. And this one against the Jags, he wasn't bad besides the pick. He was decent. It's I don't know. It's kind of early, seems like, to give up on a guy like that. But I guess if they're confident that Deshaun is not guilty and could get cleared, then they have the assets to trade for him and not take up too much of their future draft picks because they still have a couple. They're set up pretty solid for the future as well as draft pick wise. So hopefully it doesn't go there. That would really be tough for the next 5-10 years for Pats fans.
Yeah, I think the other team that would be interested if he wasn't guilty would be Philadelphia, right? People are already talking about them drafting a quarterback with one of their 3 first-round picks. Instead, just give 2 of them up for Deshaun Watson, a future first, and still have your first-round pick this year. And they could be competing with Devontae Smith, that offensive, defensive line they have. So I think the Eagles would be another one. I don't know if that's in any interest. There hasn't been many rumors other than Miami. But those are the 2 teams in my mind that it makes the most sense to go, and we'll just have to wait it out. The one report I did see said it could happen as early as this week. The trade deadline is November 6th, I believe. So it's got to happen here within the next, week and a half, and we'll know. So
hopefully he goes to Eagles. I'd be okay with that. Get him out of the AFC and go ahead. Yeah, whatever. Take him. I don't want him anywhere near our division or staying in the AFC. So NFC can have him. I hope he goes to the Eagles. That'd be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to this week's game. We'll wrap it up here real quick. Just gonna be a good one. Hopefully they can get their first home win. 0-4 so far. Hopefully make it a 1-4 at home. Getting this train back on the tracks and fixing all the mistakes and the mental errors, all this stuff. Edelman just talked about it on his Paramount TV thing that the Patriots just aren't playing Patriots football right now. They're not looking like the Patriots, and they gotta start looking like the Patriots of old. Stop making mental errors. Stop turning the ball over and play a clean game of football. You force them to make the mistakes. You don't make the mistakes yourself. And that's what we've had success with the past 20 years, and that's what we got to get back to. Not losing football games because of shooting ourselves in the foot. We got to win those tight ones. We got to make the 3 to 5 plays that are crucial in the game and not let them make those 3 to 5 plays. That's what it's kind of came down to the past few weeks against some really good football teams. We almost beat them, but in the end, 3 different plays, 5 different plays, somewhere in that range. We couldn't make enough of them. So gonna be fun this weekend. But anything else?
Let's do it. Let's go get a win, Pats Nation.
Let's do it. Get that first home win for Gillette, for the Pats crowd, Pats Nation. That'll be a good one. So we will see you guys Sunday night after the game, probably around 9, probably around 7 Mountain
7:30 my time.
7:30
Mountain time, baby.
9:30 Eastern time for all the people who don't live in mountain time. I didn't even know that was a thing, but it's all right.
I know. It's like two little hillbilly states, Utah, Colorado, in the mountains, and then everyone else is on a normal time zone. But
is that really the only two that's in?
No, I think. Well, it's weird. So like Arizona doesn't do daylight savings, so half the year they're on our time zone, and then the other half of the year they're with California. California is on like Pacific time zone. You guys are on Eastern time zone. Then there's like Midwest. There's like 5 time zones. It's weird. I think that it's like us, Idaho, Nevada, Montana, Colorado, and then Arizona half the year. And then, yeah, I don't know. It's too much.
Yeah, geez.
All I know is I get football at 11 o'clock. So
that's perfect. I wish that was my time zone. I wish we were mountain time. That'd be perfect. Perfect schedule right there. Not too early games, but they don't go too late. For sleeping by 10:30, that'd be perfect. But yeah, Jets on Sunday, 1 p.m. Another division game, last game against the Jets of the year. So hopefully we can take advantage, get that first home win. But until then, we'll talk to you guys Sunday night around 9:30 again.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Patriots Drive podcast. Follow us on social media to stay up to date with all things New England Patriots. Make sure you tune in to the next episode and check out patriotsdrive.com for more great content.
We're on to Cincinnati.